disappointing loss, obviously, a game that was very winnable.
Very winnable. I was like, man, my first take on y'all, and I'm about to take the L. What's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Better Blue Podcast. Yours truly, James Michael McAdoo, my brother. What's up, man?
Tough reaction pod today. We're filming this right after Kansas.
Right
Duke.
after the KU game.
The Duke game.
The Duke game. My bad, man. Forgot when the Dukies, on set. We got to show y'all some respect. Hey, welcome to the first live episode reaction of DidDukeWin.com. No, I'm playing.
At least we played tough games in our first three games.
We'll talk about that later. How you feeling, man?
There's no such thing as a loss that I can look back on and say we did some good. There's no positive that you're going to take from a loss. Yeah. But now, from this fan's perspective, at least from the coaching player perspective, it's just a loss is a loss. But I saw some good things.
Yeah.
You had Kansas winning the game.
Yeah. Y'all were in the game, man.
It was a game.
Y'all were in the game.
And I liked. We'll break this whole thing down, but I really liked that, took a little hit early, took that first punch and kept playing, especially with a group of young players to keep competing and not fold. Obviously, it was a big stage and you wouldn't expect them to fold, but you never know in those situations. So
no Whitehead, which we anticipated. Yeah,
not surprising, but
we got that right, man. We got that right.
There's a few things that we've thrown out there that have been correct. Sometimes mud sticks to the wall, but yeah. What'd you see out there? What'd you see?
Grady Dick. Grady Dick, man. Talk about a dude that just would probably look better in a Duke uniform. He just fit I'm like, this dude, if he played for Duke, this man would be in the upper echelon. He'd be like maybe rubbing elbows with JJ.
Just total hate.
Total hate. I thought it was going to get out of hand. Not out of hand, but I thought they had a firm grip on the game. But y'all came back, and, the second half was, like we talked about, back and forth. Not great basketball in terms of shooting percentages, and just it was a very, physical. You talking about a physical. I think Michigan State played Kentucky before this. That was probably a more physical game you would have thought. And then I watched this game, and I'm like, these refs are letting these dudes play physical. I'm just like, I was surprised. I was surprised at their lack of calls. But, as a player, you like to see the whistle, not necessarily being blown as much. I was also surprised at how many charges Kansas took. I'm like,
it was like
coach did that? Yeah, it was flipped. I'm like, did that go with Coach K? Are we not going to see a Duke team that takes charges?
It's going to sound bad coming from me, the guy who anybody that remembers watching me play, I took charges because it was something I was asked to do and something I bought into doing to help our team. But I was that white Duke big guy standing there, either taking a charge or getting dunked on. And but this is Jay Billis says this all the time. But the number of charges that are attempted and called charges is not just in this game, and it didn't help Duke today, so it's going to sound like I'm, sour grapes here. But I think the game would be much more watchable if they found a way to not – how many were called? At least 4 in the first half.
Yeah, there was probably almost 10 in the game.
Yes.
There was a point where there was like back-to-back to almost – like 3 charges in a row.
Yeah, and a lot of them, hate to say it, I know it is a very difficult call to make. It is tough.
They didn't review any of them, so
But they show the replay on both sides, and they're all lean in. They're all, and don't get me wrong. As a player, that's what you should do if you're
for sure.
You're throwing your body on the line. Got no problem with the players doing it. I just think how the game is being reffed, it would just be more watchable.
When I played for the Warriors, I'll never forget my rookie year. Coach Kerr would always use the term called gamesmanship, like a game within a game. And, especially when you have these just elite shooters, guys just knew how to get calls. James Harden was a professional at this.
Foul.
He literally knew the cheat code. Like, he figured it out, and it worked it worked amazing. until the NBA changed the rule.
They changed the
and
rule.
you saw how it affected him.
Hugely.
And
but probably a lot of people would say, well, it would negatively affect Duke the most because they're the team that flops the most.
Yeah, but it's a part of the game.
Yeah.
If you can use it to your advantage, some people, when you're on the court and the dude flops, you like, come on, man, stop flopping, bro.
Yep.
But it's a part of the game, and if you can use it to your advantage, hey, kudos to you.
100%. I'm just I'm talking big picture college basketball here.
For sure. What people want to see. They want to see the athleticism. They want to see the guys getting up and down. They don't want to see the dudes, just getting bailed out, basically, is what you're trying to say.
Absolutely. I have to say, while we've seen a couple Duke games now with John Shire on the sideline, it was just not weird isn't the right word, but just seeing him there in a big environment like that.
Crazy.
And not being Coach K.
Yeah, he looked comfortable though.
100%.
He looked comfortable.
That was the note I wrote was
he
looked under control, confident, which I expect, but it was it was just new.
Yes.
It was new, and we've seen him in Cameron, but
for sure, especially in a nip and tuck game.
Yeah,
obviously there was no real big moments where you were like, oh, he should have called a timeout here. Oh, he should have done this. Definitely could see how he has the extreme confidence in Roach, which we knew. I thought he, did his best to kind of, rein the guys in, throughout the game, especially when things looked like they could have gotten out of hand. This is a KU team that played and won the national championship last year, I should say.
Yep.
This was hard for me to watch because I'm seeing these same faces of these dudes that sent us packing in the national championship game last year. So
gonna have a ton of confidence.
For sure. They feeling themselves. Yeah, they're like, man, we're the champs. We might not be the number one seed, but we're the champs until we get dethroned. So
the turnovers were and
I think y'all had 18.
Yeah, like 10 at half, and it flipped a little bit. KU in the first half was controlling the ball a little better, and then the second half it started flipping. It was messy, and the shooting. I mean, Duke 3 for 21 from 3. Kansas 3 for 19.
Proctor looked good, man.
Started the second half.
He showed it. That's what he
showed.
That's what you're gonna get from him this year.
I liked that clearly, intentionally they had him be the point guard.
Roach was off the ball.
They moved Roach off the ball, and Roach was aggressive to score. But I did like Proctor a lot in that spurt. Now the whole game, he had his ups and downs, but
that
so shows
young.
the talent.
He's 18.
Yeah. Well, at some point, as a Duke fan, you have to say that, but you're only getting him while he's 18.
For sure.
So he's gotta, you need that guy to be good for the whole game.
Yeah.
The offensive rebounding was big too. I thought I was watching Carolina out there. I thought I was watching Baycott.
I mean, y'all are big.
Yeah, 21 boards.
Y'all slid Mitchell, who was your 4-star. I think he was like, 26? I think he was
McDonald's All-American.
MVP, right?
Yeah, he was.
McDonald's All-American MVP. Y'all slid him to the 4, and he was still almost, if not just as tall as KU center.
Yeah, KU was small.
Playing the 4-man, for sure.
But what was crazy is KU had 13 blocks.
Yeah, they were just beating y'all shots at the rim.
So I don't know what that was. But I think that kind of goes hand in hand. They were attacking every shot, and then the boards are on the backside, guys rebounding.
Just falling into the
which you saw a couple times too for Duke when Lively went after blocks and Kansas came and finished up. His man came. It wasn't his fault, but his man comes and cleans up the miss. But late in that game, if you're a Duke fan, you really wanted Roach to take it over. And he hit that big 3 with a little under 2 minutes to go.
His only 3 of the game.
Yeah, his only 3 of the game.
We talked about. I think he was 1 of 5.
Yep.
Yeah, you would have liked him to maybe made a few more, of course. But he still was solid for y'all throughout the game.
No doubt. It's just that in that moment where, especially I think with Whitehead out, you hope that Whitehead's kind of a guy that can take over a game. But Roach couldn't quite grab the game in a moment where, honestly, Grady Dick grabbed the game.
Yeah, he did.
He hit that 3 in transition.
Had a backdoor
layup.
Almost a dunk.
And that little,
crazy scoop layup.
Yeah, so he grabbed that game when it could have easily gone either way.
Yeah.
Duke didn't have a guy that said, I'm taking it.
Yeah. Which is what you're going to need when you play against these, top 10, top 5 teams.
Yep.
That's what you're going to see in the national championship, for the Final Four. When you play against the Carolinas, when you play against the Kentuckys, you're going to need, whether it's your veteran guys when you're looking at a Carolina team or a team like Duke, where Roach is going to have to basically say, like, okay, you know, whether it's Whitehead, Proctor, whoever it is, you know, it's time to step up.
And that doesn't necessarily mean scoring every basket, but it's like,
for sure,
I command the game. Yeah. I'm attacking. I pass the open play. You know, all those things. He's just, you can feel when a player takes control of a game. Yeah. And again, he didn't have a bad game. I'm not saying that at all. He especially the first half, I thought he kept Duke's offense afloat, really, at 11 at half and of 29. And
tell me if I'm wrong here. I kind of got Mike Beasley vibes from Filipowski.
Mike Beasley.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know, man. Bro. I just like this swag, man. Like
he played very confidently.
Yeah,
he played
maybe
very
that's
confidently.
where I was getting it from.
Yeah. And the rebounding. I mean, 14 boards. Yeah. 6-0 boards.
He had that almost at halftime, I feel like.
He almost had a double-double half. First Duke player, I think they said on the broadcast, to go first freshman Duke player to start the season 3 double-doubles. That's saying something. I mean, we've talked about the freshmen, the number of freshmen that have come in and been successful for Duke. So that's saying something. And again,
he was freshman of the week.
He was ACC, averaging a double-double, 12 and 10. But I did like the confidence. He just couldn't quite offensively. I mean, he finished the game 6 for 18. Yeah. And he had a very good game, but just couldn't get that little over the hump, knocked down a few shots.
Yeah, it looked a little out of control a couple times when he went to the rim. Couldn't quite get his feet underneath him, but I mean,
that one attack where he dunked.
Yeah, that was nice.
That going left off 2 feet. That was a sweet play.
Yeah, not afraid of the contact.
Yeah.
Not afraid of the contact. Highly skilled. And we'll see what we get from Lively. You know, it's still, you could tell he's still coming back from that injury. Still looked like he was wearing a little calf sleeve. So just trying to get his feet underneath him. And I think the more confident the guards are, you know, and the more attention they can take, it'll make his job so much easier. Whether it's in the pick and roll, you know, finding him in the dunker, in transition. I think, you know, this was a weird game. Bill Self wasn't on the sideline. You know, this was Shire's first game. We didn't have Whitehead. You know, so many new faces. But good to see y'all lose.
Yeah, Lively. It's not a great sign for Lively that that Duke only had 8 assists.
Yeah, that's
because he's going to be dependent on guys to create shots for him at some level. Yeah. But I liked his activity, at least defensively.
Super active.
Drop coverage, which, you know, Coach K dabbled with a little bit later on with the freshmen, but clearly John is at least with Derek Lively is definitely doing drop coverage, and with his length and his footwork, you know, there's a lot of potential there. But it's going to take some time. I mean, we talked about last pod how deep would Duke go, and they went 8 deep. Grandison, you hoped he'd be the shooter. He had a tough game and kind of was pulled, and I don't think he played in the second half, did he?
No.
Blake's was there for energy, I would say. They tried to throw him in there for some energy, which I would say he brought. Yeah. And you know, Ryan Young started, and I think early in the first pod we said we didn't, or you said you didn't think he was going to play at all, and I think he's going to play.
He's solid. Yeah. Big body, solid, plays within himself. You're definitely going to need that. Him and Roach, you know, being the big, you know, upperclassmen, they're going to get leaned on a lot, especially from Shire. He's going to need that. He's going to need to know who he can trust out there.
And he's he's kind of a bucket.
He is.
Back to the basket.
Great footwork. Yeah. Reminds me of a teammate I play with, Jackson Simmons, man, from Silver, North Carolina. Jay Sims. He was a walk-on. Ended up, you know, becoming a scholarship player. Preferred walk-on, I should say. And just a bucket, you know, just Mr. Fundamental. Jay Sims, man.
That's definitely Ryan Young. The only other note I really had was, you know, Mitchell had started out the season 2 games where he looked like a player. I mean, the game overwhelmed him, I would say, a little bit. His athleticism didn't stand out quite as much, but I still think there's something there.
I can see it. Yeah. I can see what, you know, why people are high on him. You know, it's going to be tough for him to get. You know, it's going to, you know, some games when you play at the Dukes and you play at the Carolinas, you know, some nights it's going to be your night.
Yeah.
Some nights he's gonna have 7 points. Some nights he might go off for 20 plus. You know, but when you're surrounded by, you know, everybody else is McDonald's All-American, you know, everybody else is projected, you know, NBA player, it's not gonna be your night every night. You know, so you just gotta learn. And I think you saw that with KU. You know, Grady Dick came in, played within himself, and he went on a little spurt there, and that was that, and he was able to help them win the game. But overall, I think, as a Carolina fan watching Duke play, they definitely look, on paper, they in person, they look just as good as they do on paper. I think it's just a matter of them getting more confident, and we'll see that over time. I mean, I don't think we see y'all until, February?
Yeah, I think February.
So that's going to be fun.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the roles just kind of fall into, especially with the freshmen. I mean, Roach's role is going to be consistent, but, Filipowski had 18 shots today. He's not going to get that every day. Yeah, that's a lot of shots in a college basketball game.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Well, nothing compared to Wilson, who had 26 for Kansas. But that's a lot of shots. Yeah, that's a lot of shots. Yeah. So I think you're right. That'll kind of change game to game a little bit. Again, when Whitehead comes back, does he take over that defined scoring role?
I think he will.
Maybe.
I think he will.
But yeah, disappointing loss. Obviously, a game that was very winnable.
Very winnable. I was like, man, my first take on y'all, and I'm about to take the L. I was not ready for that, bro.
I was like,
okay.
Oh, thank goodness.
All right, I was right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So some good things to take home and to write about, but a loss is a loss.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all coming in, tuning in. We're at the Better Blue Podcast on all platforms. Ryan Kelly, 34, Instagram, Twitter. James McAdoo, Instagram, Twitter. We want to hear from y'all. Shout out the mailbag if you can, man.
Yeah, it's betterbluepodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to write anything we said in our last pod, literally anything you want to hear. Basketball, Duke, Carolina, the world.
Anything.
Yeah, ask us anything. So we're excited to hear from you all and keep giving you some good content. Looking forward. I think that's it.
Yep, that's a wrap.
See you.